Welcome back to my channel. I'm Debbie Norden. I live in Alaska for 25 years. And today I want to encourage you to come visit Alaska with your motorcycle. Let's dive right in. I want to encourage you to come to Alaska, and hopefully I can take away some of the fears that you might have and that hold you back. Let me say, Alaska is very easy to travel, and really nothing should hold you back. Most people will probably fly into Anchorage or Fairbanks and will rent a motorcycle. That's one way to get here and to get your trip going. Another way, obviously, is you can make the long way through Canada and drive up the Alaskan Highway. I strongly recommend doing that. It's a beautiful trek. Also, you can take the Cassiar and then meet up to the Alaskan Highway. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. So if you have that time, go for it. When you do travel the Alaskan Highway, there will be some construction zones, especially around Destruction Bay. I experienced that too on my Alaska Yukon trip last summer. That's pretty normal. They're trying to fix a lot of that pretty messed up road. So you will encounter gravel portions, and they can get quite mucky when it rains, but I'm sure you'll be fine. So just take it easy on those stretches. Most of Alaska roads are paved, and that's what we call the tourist loop. There aren't many roads in Alaska, but they are long, many, many miles of roads. There are some gravel roads. One of my favorite ones is Denali Highway. I've traveled that road many times on my motorbike, but also with my kids in the van. And it's one of my favorite places to go. It's so easy to camp there because there are many, many turnouts. Some of them turn literally a little bit away from the road, and you can camp and hide a bit. I like to pitch my tent, and that's free camping right there. Just make sure to clean up afterwards, of course. Never leave anything behind. In fact, try to leave it better than before. But if you do want to have a camp spot on Denali Highway, for instance, that has toilets and water, Tangle Lakes Campground is another one of my favorite spots to stay. So the best months for motorcycle travel in Alaska are June and July. Yes, you can come earlier, but it really depends then on where you want to travel. The earliest I would arrive would be the last week of May. And then I would start my trip in Anchorage, and I would go south into the Kenai Peninsula. Because going north end of May, nothing will be really green yet. The moment you get to Denali, into that area, or even Denali Highway, it's still gonna look pretty gray. So summer comes first in the Kenai Peninsula and then kind of moves itself up north. I would wait until June when everything is green and beautiful and warmer. In the summer months of June and July, it can get, especially July, it can get really, really hot in the Fairbanks area. This surprises a lot of people. It's super dry and hot in Fairbanks. They have temperatures like 80 degrees or 90 degrees. And I know this doesn't sound like a lot to you guys in the lower 48 who are used to those temperatures, especially in Arizona, for instance. The fact that we have the midnight sun, it never cools down at night, and that is really the problem, especially if you're pitching a tent. You just don't get a respite. You're not cooling down at night. So I don't like that personally. I need it to cool down a little bit. So Yeah, Fairbanks can be quite hot in the summer, especially in July. The rest of Alaska, I mean, perfect temperatures usually. Yes, you can expect cooler temperatures when it rains, and especially in the higher elevations, you do want to dress in layers. Uh, it can be, cold into the 50s, and at night it can dip down even more, especially in Denali country. Um, but, and then the next day it can be 65, 70 degrees again. Just be prepared by dressing in layers. I like a fleece jacket or fleece sweatshirt. I do like my hoodies. Can even be a fleece hoodie if you want to combine it. A hoodie keeps the mosquitoes out. You can use a drawstring and shut off most of your skin. This is nice, especially in the evening when you camp. A puffer jacket, also a good idea. I don't have one, never needed one. The good part about those puffers, obviously, is that you can pack them down. That's nice. So I might invest in a puffer jacket at some point for warmth on those cooler mornings and cooler. It's usually not a cooler evening, honestly. It just takes so long to cool down here because of the sunshine that's always out here, even in the middle of the night. Bring t-shirts, bring shorts, bring sandals or flip-flops. They don't take up much space. You'll be surprised how warm it gets here. And yeah, I mean, I would bring swim shorts. In all honesty, my shorts are swim shorts that I wear under my motorcycle pants. And that way I can go swimming. But beware, there are a lot of lakes that have leeches, so you need to ask the locals. There are some lakes that are perfectly fine, and then there are others that you don't want to dip your toe in. Something to be aware of. And if you go to the ocean, let's say you go to Seward or Homer or to Valdez, that can be cooler too, usually a bit of a breeze there too, so you do want to dress in layers again and bring your rain jacket that you can pack away in case you don't need it, but it's a windbreaker too. If you are traveling in August, which I would consider the shoulder season for motorcyclists at least, August is beautiful, especially to the end of August when in Denali country, when you get to that latitude, the ground will be completely red. All the leaves will be red on the ground, and leaves will have turned yellow in end of August, but it will be cold at night. So you just need to be prepared accordingly. If you have a good sleeping bag and a good mattress for your tent camping, you'll be fine. Just know that it can get quite cold. But it is actually one of my favorite seasons because it is a little cooler and the colors are just beautiful. And tourist season also tapers down just a little bit by mid-August. So still a good time to ride. However, we've had a lot of months in August, if I look back over the years, where it rained a whole lot more. And that obviously can make things quite miserable on a motorcycle and camping if you can't dry out. But maybe you want to do a combination of things and rent yourself an Airbnb or stay in a hotel and ditch the tent. You can even be spontaneous about that. I mean, there's usually always some availability someplace. You'll find something. I always have. Like I mentioned earlier, most roads are paved here. Pretty much Anchorage, Fairbanks, all the way down to Valdez, and then Glen Highway down to the Kenai too. It's all paved. Now, if you're more adventurous, there are gravel roads. Denali Highway, again, my favorite. Easy travel, is pretty well maintained. And then there's also a couple other ones that are more adventurous. For instance, the Dalton Highway all the way to Prudhoe Bay. For that one, you need to be a bit better prepared because that is quite remote. And if you are not able to change your own tire or so, you know, might get a little tricky. And if it gets wet, oh boy, the Dalton Highway. So the calcium chloride that they put on the road to keep the dust down during the dry days, that makes quite a sticky mess on wet days. Again, not impossible to ride, but not as fun. And when you get back to Fairbanks after a trip up the Dalton Highway, you want to clean your motorcycle really well because that stuff just sits in every corner. I have not driven the Dalton Highway with a motorbike yet, but with a truck. And I can tell you it takes months to get that stuff out of all the crevices underneath your truck. That calcium chloride is a sticky affair. Another gravel road that you can consider riding is the road to McCarthy and Kennecott Copper Mine. That's in Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve. McCarthy is a tiny little community. I don't even know how many people live there year-round. Probably just about 30 in the winter. And in the summer, I don't know, 100? There are tour buses now that go up there to Kennecott. The National Park Service has done a really great job at renovating some of the old buildings of the copper mine, and you can walk into them safely now, and there's lots of info about the people that used to work there and live there, or families live there. It's actually a fascinating story. But anyway, that road to McCarthy is also one of my favorite places to travel, and another road I will hopefully take you on my motorbike next year, this year. We'll see. Another gravel road is, let's think, Petersville Road. Petersville Road isn't all that far, however, perhaps not for a beginner. The first portion, super easy, but then after Croto Creek, it gets a little rougher and there are lots of water crossings. Again, I have not done that with a motorbike. I've done it in my long time ago, in my small Mitsubishi 4x4, and just don't get in trouble with the gold miners there. There will be no trespassing signs, so mind that. Very important. There are a lot of passing lanes, and I would actually recommend just waiting for the passing lanes. And the other thing I do is, if there's a lot of traffic in front of me, I usually just go to the side for a moment and wait, and then I keep traveling. And it always gives you the feeling of traveling all on your own. That's easier in places that are not the Kenai Peninsula. In the Kenai Peninsula, it's usually a bit busier because people who come to Alaska and only have a few days, that's where they go. Because the Kenai Peninsula is kind of a Alaska in a nutshell landscape. It has mountains and the ocean, and yeah. So anyway, busier there. And especially during the fishing season, because then the locals will come out and they will be fishing the Kenai River for red salmon and silver salmon. And they are trying to stock their freezers. And I would just avoid traveling on the weekends down to the Kenai Peninsula. Another weekend to avoid driving down to the Kenai is, at least that stretch from Anchorage to Girdwood, is during the Girdwood Forest Fair. It will be congested traffic, stop and go, pretty much for the 60 miles or so, I think it's 60 miles, between Anchorage and Girdwood. Just avoid that weekend. If you're already past Girdwood, no problem. Then just stay past Girdwood and down in the Kenai Peninsula. Just avoid that weekend. It's crazy. It's a great forest fair to go to. I love it. But if you don't want to be stuck in traffic, better arrive in Girdwood the day before and just then stay for the forest fair. But avoid traffic, the traffic jams on the Seward Highway. The Seward Highway is actually one of those more dangerous roads to travel, and that is because people get horribly impatient. Uh, you have to stay behind the vehicle in front of you. Don't pass unless there's a passing lane. There are sadly so many accidents because I think it's often the locals that get horribly impatient because they want to get to their fishing grounds and they will pass in no passing zones. And this is a highway that hugs the Turnagain Arm, which is kind of like a fjord. Yeah, and it causes accidents every year. Every year there's a deadly accident. So I strongly advise avoiding weekends on the Seward Highway. And if you're caught in a lot of traffic, be patient. Be patient, don't pass. All right? I know a lot of people are scared to camp in bear country. I love camping. I pitch a tent. I've never had an issue with bears. I've never had an issue. And I think it's also because I keep my camp clean. When I cook, I have my pepper spray next to me, just in case. I solo camp. That's perhaps a little bit more difficult in the sense that I don't talk to myself. The human voice is actually the best deterrent. So if bears hear the human voice, they try to avoid you. I mean, they will smell that you're cooking, but yeah, they usually avoid you. So if you're traveling together, 2 people or more, you'll have hopefully something to talk about, and that will be a great deterrent. I've never had a bear walk into my solo camp or camping with my kids. I've never had that. But again, I only take out for the things that I want to cook, and I'm not taking everything out. In other words, I can clean up my camp quite quickly in case a bear would show up. And then again, my pepper spray is right there as well. And then I don't eat in my tent. No crackers in the tent. I usually avoid foods that are super stinky, like tuna or bacon. I wouldn't take that into the backcountry. I mean, all of it smells, and a bear will smell things, but they usually try to avoid people. So I really want to take away this fear of camping in bear country. You just have to behave the right way. At night, I store my food away, 100 feet away from my tent where I sleep. And I would also actually take it out of the motorcycle bag because, yes, while it will also help a bit, that you don't want to have the smell linger, I wouldn't want to have a bear rip through my luggage. So I usually store my stuff in Ziplocs, just bring a couple of Ziplocs. That keeps the smell out just a little bit too. And store it away from your place where you sleep. It's fine. And if you're camping in a state campground, make use of the bear lockers. There you have it. That's all there's to it. And then clean up. Always clean up. Don't leave anything on your picnic table. When you eat, pick up your crumbs. Don't smear your greasy salami hands on your pants or your shirt, because then the smell will be in your clothing and then later in your sleeping bag. So you don't want to do that either. Just be mindful of the smells. Even toothpaste will probably attract a bear. But again, I've never had an issue. 25 years and all the summers that I visited before, never had an issue. Never had an issue. So you need to relax about the bears. Just behave the right way and you'll be fine. The one wild animal that can be a nuisance, mosquitoes. So depending on where you are in Alaska, mosquitoes will be here, but to be honest, it hasn't been so bad in the last 10 years. It really tapered down, which is probably due to climate change and the poor birds. The schedule of the mosquitoes hatching and the birds having their chicks is not lined up as well as it used to be. So there's a struggle for the birds for sure. While we humans, we are happy to not be around a lot of mosquitoes. The birds, not so good. But I use a non-DEET repellent, which works better, I think better. It's lemon eucalyptus. I can put a little link here in the description to see what product I'm using. Because the DEET products, while they help, they also destroy your clothing. I mean, I had a guy, to tell you a story, he had a Swiss Army knife and his DEET mosquito repellent, the bottle, it broke. And the plastic on a Swiss Army knife literally melted, crumbled away. I wouldn't want to have that on my skin or on my motorcycle gear that I spent, hundreds of dollars for. So be careful with that stuff. Lemon eucalyptus, that's the way to go. And then the other thing about mosquitoes, the further north you go, Dalton Highway, yeah, there are going to be swarms of mosquitoes, especially in June and July. And especially if it's not windy. So I would bring a baseball cap and then put a mosquito net over it. The baseball cap will prevent the mosquito net being too close to your face. And then really cinch that thing up, because they come in through the netting, like underneath it. And they'll be in your eyes and your ears and your mouth and it's in your nostrils. Yeah. They can be a nuisance up north, the mosquitoes. But in this area where most people travel, pretty much between Kenai Peninsula and Denali or Fairbanks, it's not that bad. So don't be scared off by mosquitoes. You can stock up at Fred Meyer. It's one of my favorite stores here to shop because they have everything. It's a one-stop, they have everything store. So camping, t-shirts, undies, I don't know, whatever you forgot at home, you can buy it here. Fred Meyer has all of those things, including the lemon eucalyptus bug spray. So to sum it all up, come to Alaska. It's not as difficult as you think. You can keep costs down by camping, and there are some free camping options available. State campgrounds are around $20 and well worth it because they have the most beautiful scenic spots and toilets, outhouses, and usually water available. So I recommend staying on state campgrounds. Dress in layers, be ready for all weather, and have patience. Avoid busy weekends and avoid rush hour traffic in Anchorage and Fairbanks. The roads are all very easy to travel. Be a little bit more prepared for the gravel roads, of course. Takes just a little bit more preparation. Don't be afraid of bears. Don't let that hold you back. Pitch a tent in the wild and really, truly soak up Alaska. If you're only staying in hotels and Airbnbs, I think you're not going to connect as well to what Alaska is all about. That's my personal opinion. But if you need a comfortable bed, I do understand. So if you're in that age group where a mattress is preferred, by all means, there are so many private Airbnb owners, and I would look for that. These are people who live here locally, and they're just trying to make a living. Living in Alaska is quite expensive. I talk about this in some of the other videos I've made. So you're supporting a family pretty much if you're renting from Airbnb owners who have, a little cabin on their property. I am an Airbnb owner too, but I am actually shutting my doors, at least this summer. I'm not going to have guests. That's a first, and I'm actually going to enjoy it because I've been doing this since 2005, and I think I need a break. So can't invite you to my Airbnb, but there are plenty out there. yeah, just don't let anything hold you back. Make this dream happen to come to Alaska. Don't push it off. And the other exciting news is I am actually putting together a couple of itineraries for Alaska travel, different links, and I will put in a lot more information than what you've heard here. Where to eat, where to stay, my particular favorite camp spots, how to keep costs down. This will be a big package and I will make it ready for you to download. I'm still working on it, not sure if I have it done in a week. But I will announce it and hopefully it'll be helpful in your travel planning. And maybe we see each other on the road next summer, this summer. I hope we do. So keep in touch and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm still learning to say that, and hope we'll stay connected. Enjoy Alaska.